Hello and welcome to episode 21, Paranormal Trucker. I am PT with me, Snowman and Large Marge, as always. And we haven't discussed when you guys get married. What are we going to call you? We're going to call you Snow Marge or Large Man, or what are we
I
calling
like Snow March.
Snow Marge.
you? Snow Marge.
We
Okay.
shall keep our independent identities.
Yeah.
Think so? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to let the viewers decide.
Yes.
I think it's down to Snow Marge and Large Man.
Large man.
Possibly Large Snow. No, that's kind of lame. Yeah, we'll just was Large Marge or Large Man or Fat Snow. Wait, what was it?
Fat Snow.
Fat Snow.
Whatever it is. You guys come up with something when they finally get hitched. We have to combine them, so they have to be something something different. I like Fat Snow.
We'll
Fat Snow.
put our heads together and think of something.
We'll have to do it later.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode 20, which was filmed from me on the road and Snowman, Large Marge in their studio. Rest assured, there was no different than me just driving normal. I didn't have my hands off the wheel or anything like that. A headset. The phone is in its mounting bracket on the windshield. There was no distractions at all. So we'll get that
No
out.
animals were injured.
No animals were injured. No people were injured. So that's good. But that episode I just uploaded tonight. This episode will hopefully be up tonight as well. Tell me what you think. If you like that style of show better, let me know. That might be something we could start doing. I will say, please overlook my snot voice that I had. I was very I had like a head cold, and the headset that I had on, you could hear me breathing, and I just realized that when I uploaded it, it was terrible and disgusting, and I apologize, but it is what it is. But if you guys like that style of episode, let us know.
We didn't notice it. We watched a little bit of it, didn't we?
Yeah.
We
I
didn't
didn't really
notice it.
Well, that's probably because you guys are used to me breathing like a cow anyway.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, that could be.
Yeah, just. But
Got a hairball.
yeah, if that's something you guys like, let us know. Paranormaltruck@yahoo.com, and maybe it's something we can look into keep doing. Obviously the reason that we do it this way, of course, is it's especially today. We want to be careful about recording from the truck. We don't want companies' names mentioned. We don't want anyone to think that there's distracted driving going on. There's not. So like I say, if it's something you like, maybe it's something we can revisit. But obviously we do it this way. It's no harm for anyone. That sound good?
I mean, that was fun because all we got to see was you driving down the road.
Right.
Felt like we were going down the road too.
Right.
So
Right, and it's recorded from my phone, which my phone stays on the windshield because my phone is what I use for a GPS. So it's no different than using the phone as a GPS. And anytime that there was when I would hit the record button or whatever, I would stop the truck, pull over, stop safely in a safe area, and make those adjustments and changes and whatnot.
yeah, that the only thing that really didn't happen is I never got to see what you truckers do when you gotta go to the bathroom. You're out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it's real simple. Does a bear shit in the woods? Truck drivers do. Sometimes those guardrails make perfect little porta potties. I know it's
I tell you
disgusting.
what, when I was a little girl, we used to come down here. We came down Mountain Parkway, and there was no exits,
Yeah.
and it was a toll road. So we used to come down here at nighttime, and we had to go to the bathroom. We was kids. We had to jump the guardrail. We did that a many a time.
Yeah. Back in the day, Mountain Parkway was a
Mountain
desolate
Parkway was
desolate stretch of road.
Yeah.
it was a great road because we used to come down here all the time and having to take the old road. It was like 3 times as long. So it was a great road, but
Yeah,
there weren't any exits or nothing.
I know the state got money from federal government for infrastructure and stuff out of that bill that was passed, and they're going to extend the Mountain Parkway from Sayersville to Prestonburg and complete a little section in between that's still 2 lane.
Well, good.
I wish they would add the money for them to finish up 15 from the Parkway to Hazard.
Well, don't get greedy. We're getting 680 and we're getting the Mountain Parkway.
Well,
so don't get greedy.
it's going to be done, and it's in the planning right now. It's just nothing started.
Yeah, I wish they would get it started because it's the little stretch of road, which is
It's going
about
to go up the mountain here,
which is
behind
about
us.
25 miles, or no, probably about 20 miles from where we live, and we're on 15. We're basically about 4 miles off the Route 80 exit, and but when I have to leave and go to Lexington or whatever, that little stretch of road between Jackson and Hazard is
Horrible.
It's bad. I mean, the road's not bad. It's a good road. It's just there's
2
a
lanes.
lot of traffic on it, but there's no passing lanes.
No passing.
And so if you get behind
Joe Safe Driver.
Joe Safe Driver, or grandma or grandpa that's driving 40 mile an hour, which is more likely. Most people, I mean, usually it's about like any other road, 60 mile an hour, and I'm okay with that.
You know what
But
I found out down
just-
here, moving down here? The biggest difference in the drivers is down here, people just pull right out in front of you.
Yes.
They just pull. If you're on 15 going down through there, they just pull right out in front of you.
Yeah, there's no waiting
No.
to let somebody get on by,
Well, they know that if you hit them in the ass, they're trying to get their car straight. If you hit them in the ass, they think that it's automatically your fault. But these days with dash cams in every vehicle and some insurance companies requiring that, that could hopefully be a thing of the past, because if you pull out in front of someone who can't stop in time, you deserve to get ran over. Stop being an idiot. Don't drive like an idiot.
Yeah. Well, and on that stretch of road, well, on any stretch of road, actually, you just would not believe the amount of people that are walking.
Yeah.
And walking on the white line.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
I mean, I understand it's 2-lane road. They don't have a shoulder for them to get off on or whatever, but that's probably not a road you need to be walking on.
And that's something else that's different between up north. You don't see people out walking on even side roads or anything like you do down here.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it is the drug issue.
Sure.
License,
things like that. But
Sure.
yeah. and I know that's
which
everywhere.
is an
But
epidemic down here.
oh my gosh, yeah, I went. Where was I going the other day? Anyway, I was heading out here going up 15. Seen your belly.
I know. Just keep going.
And,
They can't see it unless I'm making noises. That's why I was using that time while you were talking to get my beard combed.
no. Anyway, traffic is backed up going up to this new section of 15 they built before the interchange of Route 80 and 15. And when I get up to the 4-lane section, there's a guy on a scooter, and this scooter is giving it all it's got to go up there, and he's driving 35 miles an hour, and the traffic is backed up for miles. And I'm sitting there thinking, you're an idiot. Why are you got this little roller skate out here? I said, it's not keeping up with the flow of traffic. That's illegal, first thing. But, I don't know. That's just aggravating.
Well, it is part of it, unfortunately. And listen, you're in a passenger vehicle. Can you imagine what it's like in a semi truck?
No,
Mhm.
no.
No.
I've told your dad a million times, even though we do this show and I say my name is Large Marge and I'm a trucker, there is no way in hell that I would drive a truck for a living. I would be in prison.
Yeah,
Road
people.
rage would get me to the point where I would be in prison. There's no way.
Well, when you hit on a good point there, where you said people just pull right out in front of you. People do that to tractor trailers too around here.
Yeah, like they think you could stop on a dime.
Well, they look at it as they're going to get a big payday out of it because anytime a truck hits somebody, they automatically go and lawyer up, even though it may be their fault. Most of the time, it is their fault. I think there was a study that showed like 85% of vehicles, uh, tractor trailer crashes involving with passenger vehicles, were the passenger vehicle's fault. But because those trucks are heavily insured, the lawyer offices are going to attack that trucking company because they see a big payday. A lot
Well,
of times, especially with a smaller trucking company, it's going to put a hurting on them and may put them out of business. But regardless, if you pull out in front of a tractor trailer, you deserve whatever happens to you because that is stupid.
Yeah.
You know that they can't stop on a dime.
Yeah.
well,
You should have better sense than that.
I had back in the '80s, I was on a fire department over in Coal Run, and they got a tanker truck donated to them from the Forestry Service. So
Yeah.
it's got a good sized tank up, but it doesn't have the baffles in it to keep that stuff from sloshing around or whatever. Well, I'm going up 23, getting ready to turn off, pull into the fire station. A car comes around me, right in front of me, and locks them up to turn into Kmart.
hmm
Well, I hit the brakes on this truck, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I'm hitting this one in the ass, and that truck, for just a minute was slowing down. I said, oh, I might be all right here like this. All of a sudden, that water sloshed to the front, hit that thing, and I mean, it threw my head back into the seat. It took off, and I missed that car just by a foot.
Well, let me say this. Touching back on the point that I just made a minute ago about if you pull out in front of a truck, you deserve what you get. That's not necessarily true, I suppose. If you maliciously and knowingly pull out in front of a truck or a vehicle of any kind, you're doing it just because you see dollar signs, you deserve what you get. I'm not talking about the medical emergencies. I'm not talking about the people who had may have had a medical issue or just simply maybe fell asleep or something like that. I'm talking about maliciously knowing if you pull out in front of someone, you deserve what you get because that is putting yourself and
Well,
the driver of that vehicle in the
And that's
harm's way.
wrong.
And see, to
It's
me,
just wrong.
it was the courtesy, and I get pissed off. This drives me nuts. Somebody will pass me, even if I'm in my truck, my truck or the van I drive to work. They pass me, get over in front of me, and hit the brakes to turn off.
hmm
Why,
Oh yeah.
why can't you wait?
Right.
Pulling
Well,
behind me.
it's not a we're a nation who is super impatient now. Where we don't care about anyone else
Well,
or anyone else's ability to do anything. All we're worried about is what we can see and what affects us. We're selfish. We're pieces of shit now. I hate to say it that way, but we are. We're very selfish.
People get wrapped up in their own thing, but they need. I mean, that's just something common courtesy.
But that's my point. That people are selfish and they only think about what they say or what affects them when they are in their vehicle. And this may be the era, the generation that we live in now, where everything is on TV or everything is on the internet, and we're desensitized to the physical reality that is the world outside of those windows of the vehicle that you're driving. You don't see that as any, and you see it all the time with people like move over, slow down laws. People don't abide by them, and tow truck drivers are one of the number one professions being killed every day. Every 6 days, I think there's so many tow truck drivers killed, and it's upsetting. It's unfair to those people who are just trying to make a living because you're wrapped up in your own little world that you can't have the common courtesy enough to change lanes.
Yeah. Well, and that's here's one that's that drives me nuts is you come up on a school zone and that light is flashing, slow down.
Yeah.
You would not believe, because I do. Yeah, I come up on a school zone, I hit the brakes. I had kids.
Most everyone who's responsible does that.
You would not believe how many people go around me and never slow down.
Oh no, I do believe it. I do believe it. But that's my point. Most responsible people, which is a dying breed, will
Mhm.
slow down. But
Well-
that touches on my point where I say responsible people, they're not responsible. They've got their phone in their face, or they're they're eating a Big Mac, or they're carrying on a conversation with someone in the car, and looking at the person they're riding with instead of the road. They're not
Right.
actively engaged in driving. They hit
No.
cruise control and they just expect the car to go wherever it wants to.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's not how the world works. Not yet,
No.
anyway. I mean, it's on its way, but it's not yet how it works.
Yeah, well, technologies don't come at the same time. You got this big thing with the phones was the big craze, and now it seems like the big craze are self-driving cars.
Mhm.
That's what everybody's working on. Before the phones, it was the computers. Nobody had ever had it. When I was growing up, a computer was something you saw on TV that was the size of a bus. And
That was at NASA or something.
yeah,
There was no computers.
there was no, and
We
those
didn't.
computers ran on reel-to-reel tapes and all this. And that. Then all of a sudden, they make a breakthrough.
Hey, we
and-
grew up when they didn't have microwaves.
Yeah,
Think about that.
yeah. The first one that came out, and I was little, was the Amanda radar range, is what they
Yes.
called
Mhm.
And they
It
were
was a
like
microwave.
$1,500.
it. Yeah, they were very
Nobody could
expensive,
afford them.
and they
Nobody's
weighed about
parents had
500
one.
pounds, and with, and I'm guilty.
Probably threw off so much radiation it wasn't even funny.
Yeah, and I remember I started working, and the first thing I saved up, I saved $1,000 and bought a VCR. They had just come out,
VCRs.
and
yeah.
that thing weighed 300 pounds, and it was like a huge suitcase. And and now I don't even think they make VCRs now. You might still be able to find one, but
It's at one of the
I
I
yard
bought
sales.
a video camera. One of the big, huge ones that set up on your shoulder like like professionals
had one too.
use. I went to the bank and got a personal loan for $1,000 to buy one. That's how expensive they were. And now we have them in our phone.
yeah, you have it takes better video than what it took,
Right, exactly.
and
And you had
or
to put a big old VHS tape in it.
but now like I said, I've got a digital camera, that for still pictures. I can take video with it, and plus I have a video camera. But I paid like $300 for it. But back in the day when they first came out, gosh almighty, they were outrageous. TV's the same way. When
Oh, when big screen TVs came out, the big floor model ones,
mhm.
they were like $3,000 and $4,000.
Well, I just walked through Walmart.
Projection TVs
Yeah.
they were.
I walked through Walmart the other day. They had a 75-inch LG, and I'm a big LG fan. I like their TVs. I like their appliances. And 75 is $800. When I bought my TV, which was a 55-inch, I paid $1,300 for that thing.
Yes.
And that 75-inch at the time was like $3,000 and $4,000.
Yes, they've come
And
down.
now they're $800 for the pretty much the same TV that you buy it at Walmart.
Shout out to Walmart.
Well,
We
Or
have
shout out.
seen.
I
we
kind
have
of got off
seen
on a
videos-
tangent there about yelling at people driving, but you can see as a truck driver, there are some pent up feelings toward,
well, yeah.
Sure.
Well,
you
it's,
know,
I mean,
and
it's-
people are gonna bitch because I just sat there and went through all that. Well, how dare he say that about those people? Stop driving like idiots. That's a fact. Stop
Yeah.
being an idiot. And people, believe me, I'm not the minority here. There's a lot of people who would like to scream in your face about it.
well, and this is something else. Maybe people need to take a driver's test every 5 years.
I think they do. I think people need either take a driver's test or you should
And
have to go through the training that I went through to drive a tractor trailer.
until
You should have to be able to proficiently show that you could handle whatever situation is thrown at you. And you know, of course, you know, here in the US, that's it's a borderline test, yeah, sure. But in today's world where more and more people are on the road, there are more vehicles on the road now than there have ever been. You should be able to navigate traffic without causing an accident because you don't know what you're doing.
you know, and you know, railroad tracks, same thing. They don't look. They'll stop. You know,
No,
they'll
but yeah,
blow right onto it soon, and when the lights are going, they'll blow right onto it. You know, in our neck of the woods, because the railroad tracks basically follow a creek or a river. It's real curvy, real windy, whatever. They get about 35, 40 mile an hour, probably is top speed for them in this area. Down the central part of Kentucky, it's 70, 80 mile an hour because it's flat land. They have big
Wow.
stretches of stuff that they can open them up. And that's
Yeah, they've got a major one that runs along 75.
mhm.
well,
Because
and
when
if,
you're on the expressway, you can see the trains next to you.
well,
And
and also,
when I worked for Sherwin Williams, they actually had a girl. It was either out of the Richmond store, the Corbin store, or whatever. She got hit by a train.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it killed her. Just because, you know, young girl just wasn't really paying attention and
That's a mistake.
had earbuds in and was listening to music. I'm thinking of what it was, and did not hear the train. Just pulled out in front of it.
and
You
that's
know,
that's unfortunate, but that's the way the
it is.
world is now. And I'm urging you as drivers to please take the extra precaution.
Yeah, well,
Yes, and stay out of the left lane unless you're passing.
yeah.
That's my big that's my biggest pet peeve, man.
every
Oh my God.
everyone in
And it-
Ohio needs to listen to what she
I
just
know.
I was getting ready to say,
Yeah.
unless you're from Ohio, then
Let me tell
it's
you
just bred
something.
into you driving the left lane.
I lived up in northern Kentucky and having to go over and deal with the Buckeyes. Oh, it was rough. Rough, rough, rough.
My thinking is, if I'm driving in the slow lane, let's call it, or whatever, I've got the fast lane and I've got the shoulder. If I make a mistake, I got a little room, might be able to straighten that up. You know, I don't like to drive in the fast lane.
well,
Well, the left lane is a passing lane.
Yes.
The lane next to that is a thoroughfare lane. And then the lane to the right is an exit or an entrance ramp. That is what we were taught in school, and that's the way it is. And it's actually against the law to just be cruising in the
Yeah,
left lane.
it is.
It
But
is.
that,
They don't ever
I don't think
give
they
them
ever
tickets
enforce it.
for it. That's what they should be giving them tickets for the most.
well, like I say, Ohio was first on the scene as far as being people who travel on the left lane and worrying about their own selves instead of anyone else. So we'll move on. We're the paranormal truckers, so we're going to be talking about some aliens and shit.
Oh, yeah.
We had a email about wanting to know if we would cover the Dulce, New Mexico military base. Now there isn't much information out there. Most of it is just rumors and hearsay and things like that. But you know, just kind of like anything that Paranormal Trucker talks about. It's a lot of rumors and hearsay and whatnot. But there's enough of it out there and enough of the same repeating rumors that makes you wonder if there's a little bit of truth to it.
Yeah. And what in the research a little bit I've done on this, you know, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot on the internet. Which there was a little more if you go through DuckDuckGo instead of Google.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think Google censored some of that stuff. DuckDuckGo
Sure.
had a few more articles on it, but they all basically said the same thing. But they did list a few books that I want to get and read that pertains to that subject. So I'll be
Okay.
interested in doing a little more, getting a couple of those books and looking at them and seeing what their conclusions are.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, I've got an article here that kind of gives a little bit of a history of the base, or I don't know. Has it ever been confirmed that there's a base there? I guess it has, hasn't it?
No, there's no base, no military base confirmed there. It's supposed to be an alien base.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, here's just kind of the rundown on it. So, inside the disturbing mystery surrounding New Mexico's Dulce base, for decades, ufologists have claimed that extraterrestrials experiment on humans with the military's help inside a secret base underneath the Archuleta Mesa in Dulce, New Mexico. The quaint desert hamlet of Dulce, New Mexico has fewer than 3,000 residents. It doesn't even have a traffic light, but the unassuming little community is a hotbed for ufologists and UFO conspiracy theories who all believe that below the town is a secret 7-story military facility known as Dulce Base. While tales of the unexplained centered around regional deserts, regional deserts are nothing new. The legends of a New Mexico alien base picked up the steam in the 1970s. It began with a state trooper who spotted a strange craft in the sky and mutilated cattle on the ground. He also found gas masks nearby, which he believed indicated government involvement. Perhaps most incredible were the claims of Phil Schneider, which I'm not going to go into Phil Schneider Snowman is, but an alleged former government engineer who claimed to have helped build the Dulce, New Mexico alien base in 1979. He claimed that he and others encountered aliens during the construction and that military service members engaged in a gun battle with them. Although no hard evidence has emerged, rumors continue to circulate out of strange goings on inside of Dulce, New Mexico. The early rumors about Dulce is it's home to headquarters of the you know what? I can't say this. It's JICARILLA. I don't. How do you pronounce that?
Jericho.
I'm not sure. It's an Apache reservation of northern New Mexico and is largely inhabited by indigenous peoples. Despite its small population, it draws heavy tourism by ufologists who host an annual Dulce Base UFO conference. It's important to note that the existence of the New Mexico alien base itself remains entirely unproven, even as the legends surrounding it are well documented. Stories arose in the mid-70s with the New Mexico State Trooper Gabriel Valdez reporting a series of disturbing cattle mutilations. Valdez claimed to have seen sophisticated spacecraft in the Dulce, New Mexico skies near the Dulce base itself, near the Dulce base where it's said to be. And to have found a mutilated cow with a dead fetus inside. This was no unborn calf, he claimed, and appeared to be a bizarre hybrid that looked like a human, a monkey, and a frog. So surrounding the cattle mutilation suggested that Valdez, that the government was involved, and that the cattle were not ravaged by wild animals, he said. The evidence that was left there, predators don't leave gas masks, glow sticks, radar chaff. They don't leave that stuff. That is, that's pretty much what I've got up until the Phil Snyder stuff. So I know Snowman's going to cover that, so I don't want to step on his toes.
So it's not. Nobody will say it's there.
No, it's
what am I trying to say? Nobody will recognize
nobody
it.
says there's anything there.
Okay.
The government
Okay.
don't admit to it or anything like that.
Okay.
But okay, Phil Schneider was an engineer supposedly that was helping build the base, and I think it was in like 1979, and he went down with a couple of soldiers that were escorting him down into one of the tunnels, and they encountered aliens down there, and a gun battle broke out, and he supposedly got shot with a ray beam, death ray, where you call it, and lost a couple of fingers on his left hand and cut a big gash from his neck down below his belly button across his chest. and the soldiers started returning fire. And during that battle, supposedly there were like 60 U.S. soldiers killed in this battle, and so they got him out, and years later, back in the 90s, he's got a lot of health problems. Has trouble moving his shoulders and stuff. He doesn't have a range of movement in it. Has to have a catheter sometimes. In a wheelchair. Sometimes he can't walk or he's on crutches. It just depends, I guess your everyday thing. But he teamed up with a couple other guys and had a UFO publication, a little news pamphlet or whatever they were writing, and brought up the aliens have a base at Dulce. And supposedly the United States government signed I think I'm going to pronounce this, the Greta Treaty with them, so they can do experiments or whatever. And so he starts. One of the guys he's in there doing this pamphlet with, and they're releasing a lot of information and stuff, commits suicide, or supposedly. And so then that's when he went out on tour and started doing lectures, and he did that for a couple of years, telling his story, everything that happened. And they found Phil Schneider dead, and they said it was a suicide. When they went in and investigated, they said they found his body with his feet were under the bed and his head was laying in the seat of the wheelchair. And the autopsy said that there was a cord wrapped around his neck 3 times and tied in a knot. And he just asphyxiated himself. Well, during the investigation, they talked to his ex-wife, and she said that would have been impossible because with the missing fingers, he would have had a hard time tying a knot in the tubing. And said she said he would never been able to got his arms over his head to wrap that cord around his neck because the movement in his shoulders had very limited range, all from supposedly on this battle. And he had talked with some of his other buddies and said that if you ever hear that I've committed suicide, they're talking about my murder. And that was in 96. So, that was, there again, don't know if his stuff's true. Don't know if he was murdered or if he committed suicide, but, that is kind of suspicious.
Sure. So, sorry, I was trying to look up the UFO conference to get dates, but I can't find anything that suggests, I guess, that they're still having that.
And another thing, Dulce, a rancher founded that town back in like 1875 or something like that, and started a cattle ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And because there are some natural springs around there, so they had plenty of drinking water, and they could water the cattle and all that. Well, in 1877, the United States government turned it into an Indian reservation, and they shipped the Apache tribe there. And so it's we've given them this land, and now the government's actually making deals with aliens to have a base on an Indian reservation. So that's kind of pushed them out of their original land and put them there, and now they've kind of taken another little chunk of their land.
Yeah. I just realized my hair is all kinds of messed up.
Yeah, it's you didn't pay for that, did you?
No, it's it looked better than this, but I've been wallering a horse over here.
Oh, okay.
The diesel dog. No, I've heard about the that fight between aliens and troops have has come up before several times on stuff that I've been researching, and it's not the first alien battle that I've heard of in an underground base. These deep underground military bases. There was one in the 70s, I think. Was it Italy?
Oh, I don't know.
It was in one of the books we were reading about
I
the.
remember something about
An alien base?
yes, there was
Mhm.
a base, and they actually had some kind of treaty that they would trade food and things like that for technology.
Yeah, they had. They apparently have been living underground there for a long time. There was hospitals and schools and everything for their little aliens. We'll have to look into that, and maybe we'll talk about that on another episode.
Well, and that's another thing. Also in those books, where there was an underground civilization in Antarctica. A couple of them actually. And
Well, supposedly that's where the fallen angels are.
yeah, and supposedly they found a civilization that's buried under the ice that they found that they're saying these people have been here for 40, 50,000 years.
Yeah.
But the city was destroyed because the ice has caved in and crushed everything.
Well, they had been flash frozen in an event they called I guess the Earth. I guess Antarctica actually used to be closer to the equator, and it kind of flipped.
Well, I think even that Perry Reese map that they found, Antarctica was drawn with the coastline of Antarctica that you can't see right now, but there was palm trees and things like that on the map.
Yeah.
And
When was that supposed to be?
that was, gosh, that's a couple hundred years ago. And but the continent of Antarctica wasn't discovered, I don't know, like somewhere in the 1800s, I think. But they found this map that I think, if I'm not mistaken, they found it in the Catholic Church that was dated, back in the 1500s, something like that. So,
Well, supposedly the Vatican
I don't
knows.
know if everybody wants to sit there and watch you groom yourself on TV.
Well, they can't see me until you talk or until I talk.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're still combing and talking at the same time. Yeah.
Nobody likes this. Is that what you're telling me? I'm not going to have.
Yeah, you're just making it worse. Stop.
I'm not going to have I'm not going to have a YouTube channel of beautifying beards. Is that what you're telling
Yeah,
me?
that's what you do. Just have a YouTube channel every day. You get on there and comb your beard. You probably get a lot of watching.
Probably. No, supposedly the Vatican knows about extraterrestrials and have been keeping it a secret for a couple hundred years.
Well, yeah. And when was it? Which pope said that they acknowledged that
John Paul.
Okay, John Paul acknowledged that if there were aliens, they were God's creature. And everybody was saying, well, if there's aliens, that's going to be the end of the church because the church is based on faith.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Does it ever say in the Bible that man was the only creation of God?
No.
No.
In the Catholic Church at Vatican City, they have one of the largest in the world telescopes. And
Yeah.
So they probably do know some stuff.
They study. They have experts, priests that are experts on astrology and what is that science where you study planets and everything? Astronomy.
Yeah, they actually have one out in California somewhere. And they have one in Rome.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Vatican City.
So it's yeah, I mean that would be interesting. Maybe that's another topic we should cover too. Is kind of dig around and see what we can find about maybe what the Vatican has and maybe what they know. And man, he challenged me bad.
just give it a break.
He come right over. He come right over and put his big stupid head right here and lick.
Well, well, that's probably what the problem is. He put some Jesus juice in it for you.
Some
Oh,
Jesus.
man. Well, we have anything else on Dulce? I know it wasn't much, but we couldn't really find much.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. Like I said, there was a couple of books mentioned. I think I'm gonna see if I can find those. And maybe maybe there might be a little more information, or we can expand this topic.
So there you go, Dulce,
You
New
know, that-
Mexico.
But see, for me, that really doesn't surprise me if there is an alien base there. Because I think there's alien bases under the ocean some places.
Right. So there you have it, Dulce, New Mexico, the military base, possibly underground. Seems to be quite a few. One of the people who actually said that there was probably, or had confirmed with several witnesses, was actually John Lear, who was the father of the Learjet. I'm not sure if anybody knows what that is. But basically, it was this. Essentially, it was the first small jet aircraft
Yeah.
that's for civilian use. It wasn't. It was kind of based off of a fighter plane, but you could pack people in it. But we'll expand on that as we find more information. Again, that was just kind of what we could find for now. But moving on, the New York Post has put out an article that there is a comet that is 16 miles wide and it could be heading toward Earth.
Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, that's what we need.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shit's going to hell anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
the world
I
seems
hope it hits Russia.
the world has been upside down for a few years.
North Korea.
A comet twice the size of the one that killed the dinosaurs comes dangerously close to Earth every once in a while. Every year, stargazers get out their telescopes with excitement to watch the Perseids meteor showers. I'm probably saying that wrong. I know I am. In July and August, and Comet Swift-Tuttle is to thank for this. The meteor shower, which appears to us as beautiful shooting stars lighting up the sky, is really an enormous stream of space debris that our Earth is periodically passing through. The stream extends for more than 15 million kilometers, or 9 million miles, through space and is the product of the comet Swift-Tuttle. Swift-Tuttle, officially designated 109P/Swift-Tuttle, is a periodic comet that orbits our sun every 133 years. Comets are cosmic snowballs, of course. They're frozen gases, rocks, and dust. Essentially, they're the leftover pieces of the universe, or the building blocks of the universe. They made when a comet approaches the sun, it forms a tail made of gas and particles, and it's called the coma of the comet. Swift-Tuttle was discovered independently by both Lewis Swift and Horace Tuttle in 1862. There's currently 3,743 known comets in our solar system, but Swift-Tuttle is the most concerning. This comet is estimated to have a nucleus of about 16 miles, twice the size of the one that killed the dinosaurs. It lists the name of it, but there's no way I can pronounce that. There's an X and some L's and a CH in there. It's a big name. Swift-Tuttle also follows a very steep orbit around the sun, which contributes to its quick moving speed of about 36 miles per second. In fact, the comet is moving 4 times faster than the Chicxulub. That's the one I couldn't pronounce. Huh?
Chicxulub.
Chicxulub. Okay. Well, if you know what it was, why don't you help me out?
I just did.
No, I just said I couldn't pronounce it. Then when it impacted the Earth. So because of these factors, the comet has been dubbed the most dangerous object known to humanity. And it will likely be considered dangerous for 10 to 20,000 years, after which its orbit is likely to deteriorate so that it will either fall into the sun or be thrown out of the solar system completely. So what are the chances of Swift-Tuttle hitting Earth? Every 133 years, the comet passes several million miles within Earth's orbit. It last entered our solar system in December of '92 and is not expected to come back until 2126, when it will be 14.2 million miles from Earth with an apparent magnitude of about 0.7. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, we actually have, they've got plans that they can do that if they find them early enough that they can change the orbit.
Oh, do they?
You don't want to blow them up because then you probably instead of one big chunk, you may have 1,000 chunks coming at you.
Right.
But they actually said if they can find it early enough, they could launch a satellite that what they call a tractor and park it right behind it, and it will just I guess from gravity of the mass of both the comet or asteroid and that satellite, they said over time it would change the orbit by slowing it down. It's kind of creating a drag, even though there's nothing to create drag in space, but they could change the orbit, So we have people that are smart enough to do it, because they've landed probes on asteroids, they've landed probes on comets, and I don't think that would be something I would want to see, because I don't know when was it, back in the 90s when that Shoemaker-Levy 9 passed and went back towards Jupiter and actually hit Jupiter. It broke up into like 9 pieces.
Yeah.
But each one of those, when it left scars on Jupiter for months, those were big explosions. Just the kinetic energy, when it heats up and it, even over in Russia, what was it, Chelyabinsk? They had that meteor that flew across the sky and blew up over top of it. It blew out windows for 100 miles.
Are you all being abducted right now? You're all like, the light in there keeps going real bright and then goes back to nothing.
Nah, I think that's you.
Is your TV on?
Yeah, the TV is on.
Yeah, your TV. That's probably what it is.
That's probably what it is.
But anyway, so the article goes on to say that it'll never happen. It's such a small risk that they're saying that it'll never happen. But we don't have to worry about it until like 2196 anyway. That's the next time it's coming by. So,
well,
or 2096.
You also have to look as it's going back out. What if it passes close to something and it tugs on it and changes its orbit?
Well, and that's also something the article said was that other bodies, celestial bodies, could change its orbit. It could come closer, go farther away.
Well, you have the asteroid Apophis that is, they're thinking like 2027. I think is the date that it's supposed to come back around, and there's a possibility that it could strike Earth, and it's a pretty good sized chunk of rock.
Essentially, if oh man, what did I just call it? Schlick, Tuttle, whatever this one was I was just talking about. Man, you've thrown out so many names here. I can't remember what it was called. Essentially, if Swift Tuttle hits the Earth, it's going to be a bad day. No matter where it hits on the planet, it's pretty much going to blink out life within a few years. You're talking about massive tsunamis and earthquakes. If it hits the ocean, if it hits land, you're talking about carbon dioxide and sulfur and things like that being thrown up in the atmosphere, new ice age, vegetation can't grow. Essentially, every species on the planet dies just like the dinosaurs.
Well, if you look, I don't know if a comet would be different if it hit the ocean. You're going to have, but more than likely when it enters the atmosphere, it's going to detonate unless it's just so big that it can't,
Right.
It'll detonate.
16 miles across. That's pretty big.
That's pretty big. It may make the ocean.
It's moving at 36 miles a second.
That Chicxulub, I think the crater is, gosh, mine is, a couple hundred miles.
Yeah.
It goes from that Yucatan Peninsula, and they actually mapped it and goes out into, I guess, the Gulf of Mexico. I'm trying to think what I believe that's where it goes. But they have actually charted where that crater's at. So even if it hit land or if it hit water, something that big going that fast, it's going to probably like hitting land.
Yeah.
It may splash the water out, but it's explode, and you're gonna get a lot of debris, which is gonna block out the sun, and the crops are gonna die, and then everything else kind of falls.
Right. So something I just thought of. The Chicxulub landed or hit in the peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico area, and when humanity arose, they kind of it happened in the Middle East, right?
Yeah, supposedly.
All right. So and then all of from there, people migrated to what we call the United States now. Even the Native Americans came from Russia,
Well,
didn't
that's what that's a theory. Who knows?
they? Well,
It may, they may have developed here just like they developed over there.
The point that I'm trying to reach is if the impact was in this area, I wonder if it was so bad for so long that life couldn't begin again here. And then it was just kind of over time, the migration of the peoples back to this area.
Well, and I've noticed this. If something gets tore up or whatever on the earth heals itself. Things will grow back. And unless something happens that everything gets burned to a cinder, as long as there's an atmosphere and water, you're probably gonna get life. Everything will grow back. And then
Well, no, I understand that, but I'm just saying the direct impact point where it was at is kind of this area.
yeah,
And
well, what I'm saying is supposedly there were no people here then.
no, there was no people anywhere. The dinosaurs were there.
Well, I don't know. They actually found tracks that were fossilized.
Mhm.
And I can't. I have to look at it. I can't remember where it's at. But there are dinosaur tracks and human footprints right beside it in the same mud.
Really?
Yes, and they're fossilized. So unless our geologist or paleontologist or whatever have got their timelines wrong, there could have been people there.
Time travel.
Could have been people there.
But you gotta think about time travel too.
And now they've actually found in Turkey, oh gosh, what's that place called? Göbekli Tepe, I think is what it's called. That they're dating back to about 12,000 years.
Yeah.
That's
what it is.
That's long before recorded history.
Well, I mean, and there's been so many things that I've read over this podcasting journey that something about Plato and the city of Atlantis.
Yes.
And they were talking about Plato was 9,000 years ago?
No, he wasn't that old. He's probably about 4,000 years ago.
Something was like 9,000 or something like that. But he was talking about a city.
I gotta make a truck stop. Go ahead.
something about a city, which people pretty much related that to be Atlantis, back to like 12,000 or something. It was the Sphinx. The Sphinx was put back to 9,000. They dated that back to 9,000, I think. And then the city of Atlantis was dated back. They were talking about a city, I guess, in one of his writings, dated back to like 12,000.
They say the Sphinx original face was a lion.
Well, why does it look like a man now? Did they carve it up?
Yes.
Why do they do it?
Because it was Ramses. He was the great builder.
Mm.
And he wanted everything to look like him.
Well, I understand, I guess.
And when they first found it, only the top of the head was sticking out.
Oh, really?
It was all the way buried down in the sand.
I did not know that.
It was pretty interesting. I love watching Egyptology.
Yeah, and that was and there wasn't pyramids there at that time. That was the only thing there. and they dug it out, and then they started building the pyramids around it.
Well, that's what I was talking about. Was the Sphinx, I think, was what I was talking about was dated back to like 9,000 or something like that. And then Plato was talking about a city before that in one of his writings that was like 12,000. People thought that was like the city of Atlantis.
Yeah. Well, and I did watch it. We watched a show, I don't know, probably a couple months ago. There were some guys that actually thought they found the city of Atlantis by the description that
One of
Plato
the many
had.
people.
Yeah, one of the many people, but it was supposed to be there on the Mediterranean Sea around Portugal, somewhere around there is where it was at. But me personally, I think they just went home.
Could have, or
they
they're
just
or they're the
took off.
ones, or they were buried under miles and miles of ice at Antarctica.
That could be. But they actually made a pretty cool show years ago. One of them Stargate spin-off shows. It was
Yeah.
Stargate Atlantis, and Atlantis was a ship. It was a city,
Hmm.
but it was a ship, and it took off and left Earth.
That could be. That'd be pretty neat.
That was, but with what he described, because they were supposed to be more technologically advanced than everybody.
Yeah.
At the time period. So I'd say they went home.
That would make sense. That would make sense. All right, so I've got one more that I found, because everyone knows that I'm an aviation nut, but what they don't know is that I'm also a motorsports nut. So I like racing, and one of my favorite drivers from back in the day has a podcast called Dale Jr. Download, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he actually had a ghost story from a racetrack. So NASCAR star says a spirit rescued him from a fiery crash. Retired NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. recently shared a remarkable story about how he was saved from a fiery wreck by an unseen force that he suspects was a ghost. Fantastic tale came about during a taping of Earnhardt's podcast, Dale Jr. Download. And that was in response to a question asking if he believed in Bigfoot and if he'd ever had any supernatural encounter. Earnhardt recalled a race in Sonoma, California, which took place in 2004, where he had crashed his car and the vehicle burst into flames. According to him, amidst the inferno, he felt someone reach into his car, lift him up by his armpits, and pull him out of the fire. I don't have any memory of myself climbing out of the car, he said, noting that he only remembers trying to get out of the car and being unable to do so until this force grabbed him. While recuperating in the hospital, he asked some of his teammates who pulled him from the car, and to Earnhardt's surprise, the racer was told that he had done it himself, despite their insistence that there had been no one helping him. The shaken driver was adamant that he had not escaped from the wreck alone. It was physical hands grabbing me, he marveled. I felt it. What do you think of Earnhardt's spooky story?
Yeah.
No, I completely believe in that.
I can see it.
And kudos to him for stepping up and telling his story out loud.
Definitely.
And if you stop and think, his dad passed away.
Yeah, could have been his dad.
The boy,
Could have been his dad. Definitely. By the off chance that Dale Earnhardt Jr. watches the Paranormal Trucker, please reach out. We would love to have you on as a guest and hear more about your remarkable story. In fact, I may send you an email, so don't feel bad if don't overlook it. I'm just going to send you an email, because someone of my caliber emails you, Dale Jr. You respond. You understand?
Didn't you get to meet Dale Jr. when you were living in North Carolina?
I have met him a couple times, but it more or less was in passing. There were a couple times we went to lunch at a sushi restaurant, and he was there, and he kind of knew the guys that I was with, and it was going, hey, how you doing? Pretty much kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you guys didn't hang out and have a beer or nothing, right?
No. I wish. That would be awesome.
Oh,
That would be awesome.
well, I thought your relationship's a little stronger than that. You could have got him on here.
No, I don't have any I don't have any close ties to any of the racing drivers in North Carolina these days. I guess I really didn't have close relations. I would still be working in motorsports if I did, I guess. um, but I think that's going to do it for us tonight. You guys have anything else?
No,
No,
good right now. I don't.
two.
We did well. One thing I will say is, we missed out on the paranormal stuff happening over here this year because nothing really happened. Yeah, it always happened before about January, February, somewhere in there while it was cold, and nothing really happened this year, did it?
No, we haven't had anything. Ever since I went to that psychic and told that psychic that I wanted it to stop, and she took care of it, she said. And seriously, after that, we haven't really had anything.
Well, very cool.
Yes.
On the next episode, we're going to hear more about that because I want to hear about that. I want to pick your brain on it.
We
Well,
have lots of things to tell.
yeah, and I believe in a lot of stuff. I have a hard time deciding.
I mean, I don't honestly. It's just the way it's the open mindedness that you approach with anything else. You just
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around the psychic stuff, but at the same time, why wouldn't there be psychics? You know what I mean? I mean, everything is
Yeah.
connected. You can feel when something changes in your environment. You are connected to the earth 100% through energies of the physical, through in the environment, through meteorology, through whatever. You can tell when the hair on your back of your neck stands up and says, "Hey, something's wrong," and nothing has presented itself yet. That's again, that's just me saying that. I don't know. I believe in that stuff. I think it's very possible.
Well,
I believe in it.
I guess I'm still fighting some old inhibitions because for me, if it's going to psychic, what they're going to tell my future is you're getting ready to lose a large sum of money. That's what I see out of it. But I think there are people that can see things and interpret things. I'm just saying if they're doing it for money, I don't know.
Mom was that way. She used to dream about stuff and then it would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally
And-
believe in that.
And Kathy, you've got a gift. You can do the similar stuff, can't you?
I can't. I do. I'm very sensitive. I can feel things. Can't explain them, but I have different feelings for different things.
Well, and again, I think that just goes to show the open mindedness that you approach with everything. And I don't think it presents itself unless you have an open mind. And for so long, no offense, Snowman.
I'm bringing the show down.
No, for so long, Snowman. I'm just saying, for so long, you were very realistic and living in the real world that you weren't.
And
looking at-
I would look at something and analyze if something happened or whatever. I was like, okay, this is what caused that. And and go on. But in the last few years, there's a few things happened that I really can't explain. And it's just like I said, it's just maybe I'm getting older. I don't have as much on my mind. Not got the kids grown up. I don't have the pressure on me that I had on my last job. So I'm not I get a little time to wind down. Plus the stroke, I don't try to bring a lot of stuff home with me.
Right. Well,
I don't always succeed, but
Yeah, you do pretty much.
I don't want to bring it home. Try to give my mind to where it can relax and I can do other things that I want to do and get my mind out there. And that may be why I've actually experienced things the last few years.
It could be, yeah, for sure. Well, with that bombshell, I think we're gonna call it a night tonight, and we'll revisit this next week, or the week after, or perhaps maybe even the week after. We don't know. It's possible
Right.
anytime. We may drop one tomorrow. We don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on how
Right.
froggy we feel.
Well,
Um,
are the viewers gonna get lucky tonight and get 2 episodes?
If everything will process in time before I go to bed, then yes. If not, then they'll get it tomorrow, and they'll like it. You'll like it.
Like it. Like it a
Um,
lot.
If you are a fan of the paranormal, please check out our friend Spooky. Dag, no. Check out the Spooky Family podcast. Elliot and his Spooky Family are fantastic to listen to. They're hilarious. Number one, and number two, they're very factual, and they can analyze stuff in a certain way that most people wouldn't think about it. Check them out. Check out our good buddy Justin Perkins and our good buddy Seth, the Seth's Daily Podcast. If you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, do whatever you'd like. We really appreciate it either way. And if you like the format of episode 20, where you were seeing the trucker going down the road, let us know. We'll try to do more of those. If not, then we'll continue with the format we have. I believe that's it. If you want to be part of the show, if you have any stories that you would like us to check into, or maybe you want to share with us, paranormal
Send us
trucker at
emails.
Yahoo. Do what?
Send us emails.
Paranormal trucker at yahoo.com is how you can get in contact with us. We also have a Facebook page. If you would like to send us a message, that would be pretty awesome too. We love hearing from you guys, so keep them coming. That's going to do it for tonight for Paranormal Trucker. That's me. That's Snowman. That's Large Marge. And I've seen Frank the Tank running around there somewhere.
Yeah, he's over in the floor.
All righty, guys. Until next time, we'll catch you later.
Bye.